games in 6 cities in 11 days culminates tonight in the Gateway City and inside Scott Trade Center. The Dallas Stars and the St. Louis Blues. The Blues jockeying for playoff positioning. The Stars hoping to keep their playoff hopes alive. Hi, welcome to Dallas Stars Hockey. Along with Darryl Ray, I'm Ralph Strangis, and the Dallas Stars are in a bit of a spot. 6 points out of a playoff spot, 3 teams to hop razor, and they're missing several key pieces.
Well, they're missing close to 50 goals from their lineup right now with the injuries to Seguin, Eves, and Hemsky, so others are going to have to get it done offensively, and they're going to have to rely heavily on team defense and the goaltending of Kari Lehtonen. You look at the last half dozen games in which the Stars have earned at least a point, and that's exactly what they've done. It's their defensive game that's gotten it done for them. 12 goals in those 6 games against. So that's pretty good defending for a team that hasn't defended all that well this season. Kari Lehtonen seems to have really refound his form. Last 3 starts for him, outstanding, close to 96 save percentage. Couple of wins on that road trip, and then a shutout victory over the Panthers on home ice. I think he's returned to form. It's the patience in his game. The athleticism is there. He's fighting well to find pucks through traffic. His short game, all that stuff in tight has been excellent. It's not as if they've been airtight defensively in front of him. He's just been the big stopper in behind him. So if they're going to be successful going forward, he's going to have to do that repeatedly.
Stars have had some success here, but few others have. Razor, this is one of the toughest buildings in the league to get a win.
It is. Only 2 teams since Christmas have been able to win in this building. One of them is the Dallas Stars, so they have those warm fuzzies heading into this one here tonight. But the only team that has held home ice advantage better than the Blues, they are the Predators in Nashville. The Blues, 5 regulation losses in 28 home games. So difficult place for you to get it done if you're a road team. They don't give up much defensively, and offensively they're led by this guy, Vladimir Tarasenko. His next goal will be his 30th. He comes in tied with Tyler Seguin for 5th in the NHL in goal scoring, 7 back of Ovechkin. And 4 of the 29 have been picked up against the Stars in the season series. 3 of those came in the overtime victory in Dallas earlier this season, including the winner in OT. And then he potted another one here at home in the loss to the Stars just after Christmas. He is a bull with a bullet shot. It's just a shame that the 2 of them aren't facing off against one another here tonight.
And without Tyler Seguin, added pressure falls on Jason Spezza's shoulders. When we come back, we'll put him in the spotlight. 3rd of 5 meetings for the Stars and the Blues. Dallas has 3 of a possible 4 points, including the win here. Tonight's spotlight is delivered by DeMontrond RV Razor, Jason Spezza.
He is the man in the middle and on the power play with Seguin out. He's on a 5-game point streak. It's the 3rd longest current streak in the league and marks the 2nd time he's hit the score sheet 5 straight games this season. In recent ones, the power play work that he's put in, it's been dynamic. The setup vision has been there as it usually is. He's creating a lot for himself. 3 goals, 4 assists during this little run that he's on. Maybe most comfortable that he's looked as a Dallas Star in his first season is right now.
Dallas Stars and the St. Louis Blues. We drop the puck from Scott Trade Center next. Back in St. Louis, getting ready for the Stars and the Blues. We told you about Kari Lehtonen. Here is St. Louis's starting netminder.
It's Brian Elliott, the All-Star. He replaced Sergei Bobrovsky in Columbus. His save percentage is tied for 4th best in the NHL, and he's coming off a 40-save masterpiece in Florida against the Panthers.
So Lindy Ruff has decided that the top line shall be Jason Spezza, Jamie Benn, and Eric Cole. Cole has been on a bit of a rampage lately. He's got 15 goals. Only Benn and Seguin have more. Points in 4 of his last 7 games. Big power winger who goes back to the right side, Razor, with Benn staying on his natural left wing position.
Cole scored a lot of goals in this league from the right side as a left shot.
Spezza and David Backes at center ice, 2 of the league's best center icemen from the circle. Backes wins it. Oshie tries to attack in the defensive partnership of Alex Goligoski and John Klingberg, who has it back of the net. Break that up. Klingberg with a pass ahead to Cole at the line, trying to cut away from Butler. Spezza has it in his skates, locked up along the boards with TJ Oshie. Shot it off Elliott. Loose puck cleared to the line. Goligoski holding it in. Back of the net, Spezza. Sprayed it off the boards, and it's chipped away from Goligoski as Steen. One more goal for Steen. He'll be the 3rd Blue with 20. Shot it over. The Stars fire it on in. St. Louis 37 wins, 78 points, second in the Central Division to NHL leading Nashville. They're 4 points back of the Preds. Tarasenko was looking to get loose. Stars Roussel is back in after serving a 2-game suspension, joining Eakin and Garbutt. And they're in a defending posture at their own line. Roussel chasing Jay Bouwmeester back into the St. Louis zone. Carl Gunnarsson, his partner, takes a hit but gets it along. Flipped up off Tarasenko. And away from Schwartz by Roussel, and another Dallas change coming here. The Blues will do the same. Stastny tipped it on in, and Trevor Daley back to get it for Dallas. He's partnered with Jyrki Jokipaka. There's Brett Ritchie and Curtis McKenzie with Vern Fiddler. The kids and old Vern in the middle. Daley mishandled the puck against Berglund, but shot it in off a St. Louis glove. McKenzie in check. And back comes Dmitry Yashkin into the Dallas zone. Berglund throws a hit in the corner. Patera, the center iceman on that line, but it slips free to McKenzie. And Fiddler was reaching for it, but it was away from him. It swept out of the St. Louis zone. Linesman Brian Mock. And the Blues have to reorganize. Alex Pietrangelo up ahead from the wing, shooting it. Lettinen was surprised by the shot. And Pietrangelo overtaken by Sean Horcoff. Here he comes ahead with Moen and Sevier. Moen from the wing. The Horcoff tipped it just wide. Moen scored here last time we were in. Jordy Ben shooting it, and that's blocked off by Pietrangelo, who takes it around behind. Horcoff clawing after him, slipped it to Moen. Going in with Marcel Gotch in the corner. Moen diving for a puck. Diving on top of Moen was Chris Butler. Stars pick it off. Sevier swings it wide, and Elliott held it long enough for the faceoff.
Well, all the greats were born in February, as you and I both know, and it's birthday boy Lindy Ruff today. The challenge for him is to first defend well as a team and stay disciplined, and then to replace the missing offense. Get production from others and work and fight for interior opportunities and second opportunities to score. They have to win the slot here tonight in front of their net, in front of the Blues net. They do that, they'll walk out of here with something.
They need something.
Yes.
Klingberg leaves it for Ben. Shot it. Elliott fighting for the puck, and he's got it very high with Cole producing some traffic in front.
The man on the other bench, Ken Hitchcock, frustrated a bit by his team's inconsistency of effort depending on their opponent. They've been attentive and played well against teams on par or better than them, but struggled against teams below them in the standings, and there are plenty of them below them in the standings. They've got a good team. I think their players know they have a good team.
Now Klingberg dished it off to Ben, moving in for a shot. He scores! Jamie Benn! Ripped it stick side, and the Stars strike first. It's 1-0.
The other thing Hitchcock talked about this morning, it's hard to play catch-up against the Stars, and we keep trailing against them in these games. Well, they're trailing again. Face-off win by the Stars. Look at the space that Jamie Benn, look, he walks in, pulls its pants down, and spanks this thing low on the blocker side. It's just shooter and goaltender. Beat him. What a shot.
Jamie Benn's 20th goal of the season. The Stars don't have a pair of 20-goal men. Hi, Tyler, if you're watching at home. There's Tarasenko. Took a good hit from Antoine Roussel in the St. Louis zone. Henderson whipped it up the boards. Roussel trying to hold it in. Knocked around by Schwartz. They've also been really steaming along lately. And Roussel dumps it on in. Klingberg and Spezza with the assists for Dallas. It's point number 30, and Spezza now with a 6-game point streak. Jokipaka to McKenzie at center ice. Plowing through Jackman's check. Moves for Ian Cole. The goaltender does back to the net. McKenzie in to rough him up. Jordy Ben to Jason Demers. Slinging it back. A lot of room for Jordy Ben. Try to pass. Fiddler will pick it up. Get in behind the St. Louis defense.
Stars are quicker, and they've been more aggressive here in the early going. Finished a lot of checks.
Kenzie, Fiddler, and Ritchie. Demers from the far side of the ice. Walks away from Yashkin. Fiddler fired it. That's blocked on its way to the net. Jackman stayed home. Big hit by Ritchie on Ian Cole. And Berglund unable to control the puck at the Dallas line. Stars are right back over. Fiddler toward the net. Scuffed aside. by Elliott. Ritchie flings it around. Jokipaka from the left side, loading, shooting, blocked. Barkov firing wide. Daly leads the Dallas back in with 14 goals.
Well, they have the Blues just late everywhere right now.
Jokipaka shot it, save Elliott. Loose puck in the slot, finally grabbed by Marcel Gotchin. He'll ease it out. Daly quickly up. Pass just off the mark for Sevier. That's icing against the Stars.
Well, Jamie Benn with those 20 goals now and lots lately. He's been terrific. Now tied with Tyler Seguin for road goals on the Stars with a dozen. You can see what he's done in his last 14 games, over a point a game, and it's like all phases of it offensively. Penalty killing, he's productive. Power play, productive. Even strength, productive.
Sean Horcock with a productive faceoff win over David Backes. Colton Sevier blazing in with Jay Bouwmeester. Stars change off that icing whistle. And Steen shrugged it on back. Gunnarsson to the boards. And Bouwmeester right up ahead. Goligoski won't give them the line easily. Lettman setting it up. Klingberg pitching it away to Spezza. Tried to go across the ice. Oshie cut it off. Backes is in front of the net. Oshie wanted it back on the give and go. Ben steering it away. Out to center ice for Cole. Pietrangelo bringing it to rest in his own zone. And then Oshie again at center ice. Sticks it out of his skates. Steen is onside. He lost the puck. Klingberg stumbling along the boards. Cole depositing it to center. That's a 2-1 Dallas early in the game. 5.5 minutes in, Jamie Benn ripped one. Stars lead at 1-0. Blues back. Eakin slipping in over there with Schwartz. Tarasenko in the corner. 29 goals, 55 points to lead the Blues for Tarasenko. Backhand shot to Tarasenko back of the net, and puck was played with a St. Louis high stick.
Antoine Roussel back in the Stars lineup here tonight. You know, every guy says the same thing after a suspension. I need to sort of play the same way I always play, but stay on the right side of egregious stick plays like that. McQuaid took a run at him. He turned around. He'd already blocked 2 shots with his hand, and when he went to go to defend himself, he cross-checked him right in the throat, and that got him 2 games and surrendered a little bit of money to the NHL Retired Players Fund,
which I'm sure they're appreciative. Now Roussel, Garbutt, and Eakin.
In some ways, it came at a pretty good time in that there were back-to-back games, so it wasn't like it was spread over a week or anything. He got it done in a hurry. This line's so important to the Stars going forward.
Roussel lunging to work it to the corner. There's Eakin trying to center it. Tarasenko uncleanly now in full possession in his own zone.
The 3 of them were just such a difference maker at times last year for the Stars. They would defend, they could score a little bit, they would infuriate always. I don't know that the 2 wingers have been as abrasive consistently and physical as they were last year this year. They need it now.
Ritchie tearing after a puck. Gunnarsson tips to center ice. Demers firing it over. Elliott handling it, wants to go straight up the middle of the ice. And covering there is Ritchie. Jordie Benn shooting it in on Brett Ritchie. Fiddler from the corner, centered it. Ritchie was heading to the net. Puck missed him. And the Blues net has come dislodged, which sends us to break with 12:45 remaining in the first period. Dallas captain Jamie Benn, 4-game point streak with his 20th for a 1-0 lead.
Last year, those 3 were essentially the Stars' second line. You know, there was a bit of a void underneath of Seguin and Benn. The idea of Spezza coming in here this year, but they've gone dry again. Cody Eakin, Ryan Garbutt, and Antoine Roussel need that second wave, if you will. Last month and a half, just a couple of goals. Garbutt scored the last time we were here. 1 goal since that tally, and none after that. It's been a while for him. I think those 3 guys, everybody's got to chip in a little bit, but also McKenzie and Ritchie, the 2 kids just up from the minors, can't just occupy a jersey with the injuries the Stars have. They got to chip in a little.
Ritchie, 3 goals in 11 games, but they came very early in his NHL career, even though it's still very early in his NHL career.
Good players. And you already seen him here tonight. A little bite physically. Other part of the game.
Speaking of which, Reeves patrolling in the Dallas zone. Got shoved away. Steve Ott, former star, wears number 9 here in St. Louis. Demers to Jordy Ben. Lose pressure a little bit. Flung ahead to Sevier. Took it in and then is crushed by Jackman at center ice.
Mullen was trying to get over there and have words. Reeves cut him off. Well, that's a tough pass to take. Wow. Boom.
There's Klingberg. To move it quickly. Bunts it along to Cole. They're going after Cole, too. And it's moved out to Spezza. He's got Ben with him. Spezza moving in. Spezza to Ben. The shot. He scores!
What a pass. They nailed him with over-aggression. And the Stars' skill and speed slices him up. No chance for Elliott on that one. They hit in neutral ice first. I mean, just dragging a puck back. Jackman comes up and disturbs his essence. Good on Sevier to even get up after that. And then off the transition in neutral ice, they get the Blues chasing. Commit early. As soon as they commit to Spezza, lovely little saucer pass, and Ben has a pair here in the first 8 minutes of the game.
Fourth two-goal game of the season, 18th of his career. Spezza with 2 assists. And the Stars lead at 2-0. Eakin has it back of his net, took it away from Schwartz. Passing up the middle, Jokipaka finds it. Garbutt on the wing, moving in. Garbutt backhanding it, save, rebound, Eakin scores, and it's 3-0 Dallas.
Wow, it is just an unfettered traipse to the Blues net here. In the early going, this is a gift right in front. 20 seconds apart, there's going to be a goalie change for Hitchcock and the Blues. And Jake Allen's going to come in. Stars work the puck through again. It's Jokipaka, the defenseman, jumping up on the rush, which has been a real hallmark of the Stars game. Occupies defenders, opens it up in front. Boom. Right after the 2-on-1 goal that Ben sends home. In tight. Upstairs, Cody Eakin pops another one, and the Stars have opened up a sizable can on the St. Louis Blues. The Blues admit their coach, Ken Hitchcock, is barking at them on their bench right now, but they admit the Stars in the games they played against them generate more odd man rushes against them than anybody. Anybody. For whatever reason, they have a tough time matching their speed. They came back to rally and win in Dallas in overtime, but the Stars just seem to have their number in this building right now. What a start.
And so Jake Allen takes the net since giving up 4 on 24 shots against the Stars December 27th. He's 5-0 with 1 no decision.
Well, that game here, a couple of them were gifts. One of them was off his stick. How does this go here now at 3-0? Ott's trying to pick a fight with McKenzie right now. He'd be wise to not do that.
Ian Cole up the middle to Marcel Gotch. Eakin from Garbutt and Jokipaka.
Not that McKenzie couldn't handle Ott. It's just the circumstance. Don't drive any energy.
By Garbutt. There goes on, driving into the corner with Goligoski. They jam up, 5-man scrum, 3 of them are Stars. It's quick to the boards. Ian Cole down to challenge McKenzie. It's out to Reeves covering at the line. Jackman to Reeves firing. That's blocked by McKenzie. Klingberg threw the puck up. And Reeves disrupted to keep it in. Stashing it back to the Dallas net. Goligoski will tap it. And ripped out to center ice. Oshie trying to bring it right back across against Fiddler. Steen works it over. Shot wide of the net from Backes.
That didn't miss by much.
McKenzie popped by Oshie. Bouwmeester's shot blocked by a diving Ryan Garbutt. Blues have dialed it up a notch here. Bouwmeester's drive blocked again by Garbutt. Goes out to attack him. Back of the net, it's Klingberg. Trying to get away from Backes. Puts it back of the net for Goligoski. Making the turn. Taking off his skates. No penalty. And up come the Stars. Burns Fiddler to center ice. Stick hacked out of his hand. And Jokipaka back for it.
You know, the way the Stars have dominated the game, not just on the score sheet, but the Blues have had zero forecheck. None.
Moen shooting it in, and Jake Allen fields the puck for the first time. Midway through the first period, 3 from Dallas. Jamie Benn twice, and then Cody Eakin giving Dallas a 3-0 lead in St. Louis.
Well, as you enjoy a cold one, I urge you to stay tuned for Miller Time. Coming up later in the game tonight, brought to you by Pilsner Brewed, Miller Lite. David Backes in there. Closest the Blues have come to getting anything testing on Kari Lehtinen, just missed. Got it past the block of Goligoski in front. That's their top line. Backes, Oshie, and Steen.
Benn and Stastny. Cole pitches it back to Jokipaka on to Spezza. Firing it tipped by his own man Pietrangelo wide of the net. Jokipaka shooting. Allen to his left in relief.
Stars are just schooling the Blues here in a lot of facets of the game. The face-off victories in the attacking zone, that's how they got it started offensively here. They've moved the puck well and forced the Blues to chase, and they've been slow to chase. They pack it in tight in front of their net. Points have been pretty wide open.
Spezza and Stastny again, but Blues come away with it, and there's Schwartz behind Tarasenko. Jokipaka stepping up. Cole hammers it across. Spezza going after Bouwmeester. Shucked it out to center ice. Daly cutting Schwartz off along the boards. Jokipaka. Cole, nice little bunt pass. Benn to Spezza at the line. Spezza leaving it for Daly. Down to Spezza. Spezza shot it. Save Allen. Loose for Benn. And Allen pouncing on the loose puck in the blue.
It's just a steady diet of the Dallas defense going with the rush. And as they go with the rush, the Blues have been terrible at picking up the defenseman coming up. This time is Trevor Daly. There he is right in the middle of the ice. Nice little play along the boards. Blues chase back to the net. Not only are they late chasing, but it's forcing some confusion in their coverage as the Stars attack off the rush. He had a big game the last time in here. He and Demers both scored big power play goals as the Stars dispatched the Blues.
Berglund and Cody Eakin. Berglund got it ahead to Laterra.
Nothing for free, though, huh? Look at how quickly the Stars get it to position.
Berglund. The jump past Jordy Benn, but underneath Jordy Benn is Ryan Garbutt. Flipped it up the far side. Gunnarsson takes a chance. Yashkin pushed off the puck. Garbutt using the boards to get it out. Butler lost it. Roussel in check. 3 Blues are over there on him. Laterra pitched it out to center ice. Blues changing, so are the Stars. Jordy Benn takes the line and then gives it to Eakin. Passing back to Jordy Benn. Shot it wide. Allen didn't see it.
There's a population explosion in front of him.
Steen into the Dallas zone. Goligoski forcing him wide. Oshie tapped it in front. And here come the Stars. Vern Fiddler again. Amidst 3 Blues, he'll shoot it in and then go after Jackman. Playing his 780th game tonight, Jackman is. That's number 2 all-time by himself on the Blues all-time list. Ian Cole. TJ Oshie taking the line. Swung it at the net. Pad stop Lehtinen. Steen back of the net. Lettinen's goal stick is aside the net as Klingberg tries to fight through Gotch. It's a little help from Fiddler and an icing whistle against the Stars, who will take that.
It was pretty good work by young McKenzie in behind the net. Half accidental and half just fighting for position to win that puck when Kari Lehtinen had lost his stick. A rare face-off down in his zone. Same crew has to stay out there because of the icing. Marcel Gotch is good at this. They acquired him from the Pittsburgh Penguins. Not a lot of stats after the face-off, but pretty good on draws.
Lapierre went the other way in that deal. Won the face-off and now pursues the puck. Cole has it. Rumbling out towards center. Ott overtakes him. And a long feed to Reeves, who's better hitting like that than he was with the puck. Straight away from Ott. Moen trying to lift it out the boards, up the boards, and out of the zone. And Horkoff will do that. Help him out. Chase Gotch back into St. Louis ice. 3 early, chasing Brian Elliott for the Stars. Travis Moen offside.
Well, Big Eric Cole, we talked about him right off the hop. He's the most physical forward that the Stars have, along with the goal scoring. You take a look at the Blues, they would have 3 forwards who would lead the Stars in hits: Reeves, Backes, and Ott. So 2 of the 3 play on one line on that fourth line with Gotch in the middle. They're not as heavy hitting as they were a few years ago. You know, Soboka's not here. He's in the KHL. Polak is now with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Both of them racked up hits. And the game has just changed. Not as many teams going the extra mile to finish checks. Too fast.
Ben has been a blur in the first period. Tried to put it down the boards, and now he'll come back to help defend. Tarasenko against Jokipaka. Spins away from him and then misses Pietrangelo.
Looked up to the heavens immediately after that. Boy, they've really looked out of sync here. The Stars have them off balance, to say the least.
Schwartz cuts to the middle, shooting, tip wide of the net. Eakin from back of the goal. Turning away from Tarasenko, takes it ahead, takes the line. Passing over to Garbutt, slap shot. Allen makes the save. Eakin, the most recent Dallas goal scorer. Roussel giving chase. Well, Mr. chopped it towards Schwartz, who flips it into the Dallas zone. It rolls on edge. Dies prior to the icing line. Here he comes. Klingberg up ahead toward McKenzie at center. Fiddler getting over there, chasing a pinballing puck. Backes from outside the line, taking it over. Oshie in pursuit. Klingberg again. Gentle pass along to Fiddler.
They are annihilating their forecheck.
Bing, bing. They're deep in the St. Louis zone.
Just really smart puck movement and motion. They never stop.
Demers firing it wide of the net and high. Backes with the pass to Oshie. Leaving it for Backes. Oshie weakly at the net. Yashkin fired it. That one was blocked. They'll collect it again, take it around behind, tried to cram it. Didn't get anything on it.
Had both Horkoff and Jordy Ben there to defend that. Never even got through.
Allen slings it along. Ian Cole punches it ahead. Sturdy hit by Travis Moen at center ice. Dump Yashkin. 5 minutes remaining in the opening period. Shots are 9-5 Dallas.
We haven't seen Colton Seaver since he got nailed in neutral ice by Barrett Jackman. Garbutt's out here in what would be his position. I can't believe he got up.
It was you mentioned, very difficult pass. He turned and boom. Get your report when we get one. Daly pops it on in. And Jackman. Schwartz gonna pick his way through center. Backhands it deep. Klingberg steering it to Goligoski. Up the boards to Cole.
They just cannot pin him down. It's like trying to hammer Jello into a tree right now for the Blues with their forecheck. It's just like, would you guys just stand still and stay there?
Moving again, here's Ben. Lost the puck outside the line. Goligoski unhurried. Cranking it in from center. 2/3 of the top line goes to the Dallas bench. Cole in there for a sniff. Roussel off the bench, lost it at center ice. Stastny, though, needs a change, too, so he'll flip it deep. Jordy Ben. Roussel knocked over by Reeves.
There's another one of those trying to dig the puck out, staring it into the ice. In comes Reeves like a predator, and bang.
Roussel, as we say, got the license plate number. Here's Gotch with the full pirouette away from Eakin into the Dallas zone. Stars have 3 back. And Jordy Ben makes the play on Gotch twice. Chipped it forward. Roussel takes the contact to clear it. Garbutt stretching out. Jackman nudging it ahead. Gotch sending it back. Pass up the middle. Steen powering in after it. And Lettinen up to McKenzie. Now to Ritchie in a crowd off his stick and into the stands with 3:04 left in the first period. Tremendous start for the Stars in St. Louis. They're up 3-rip over the Blues.
It was like a building that would count every second hit for the opponent and maybe hit the clicker twice for a few of the local boys. The hits right now are 10-6 in favor of the Blues. Stars came out and I thought really initiated a lot of the contact. First 3 or 4 shifts of the game kind of announced their presence with authority. The Blues have tried to bang back, none heavier than that hit by Jackman on Sevier. And again, the Stars have played so quick and have had the puck a lot. Going to be a penalty off that at center ice, is there not? Or is it just a hand pass? You can't. Yeah. A center iceman cannot play the puck with his hand on a draw.
Number 38, 2 minutes for playing the puck face-off violation.
He interrupted me. I was just telling you what he was going to tell you. Why don't I just shut up and let him do it? So a good penalty killer in the box in Vern Fiddler. Let's watch this. Puck down. Whether he swept it or not, if you touch it, they nail you.
First power play for the Blues, who are second with the man advantage overall, but they're missing a lot with Shattenkirk out of the lineup. He's their quarterback. Abdominal surgery, this puck shot off Eakin and out of play, and so they'll be without him for a while. They have to adjust.
Well, right. It's like the Stars without Sagan on their power play. The same idea. Your catalyst is not there. They've only scored 5 power play goals in the last 15 games, so you know, it's kind of faded on them a little bit. Now you take that guy out of the equation. They could really use one here, though.
Pietrangelo to Steen, a drive. Rising shot over the top of the net. Pietrangelo will hold it in.
Time of the penalty, 16:58.
And then play it off. Here's Steen. Pietrangelo firing. Save Letman. Cleared by Trevor Daley.
One and done. It's been them the entire period. Not that they've exactly pelted Carey with rubber. Stars have not allowed any scrambles or second opportunities around him.
Backus leads St. Louis with 9 power play goals. Schwartz, number 17, has 7. They get that in. Laterra from the wing. Back out to Pietrangelo. Shot it into the corner. Tarasenko on top. Steen fired it. Saved Letman right to Roussel. He clears.
They're a shoot first power play. They always have been. But when you shoot first and you don't retrieve or get the second opportunities or allow a screen to set up in front, rather simplistic and I would think rather easy to keep deterred.
Schwartz throw himself into a knot along the boards. Jordy Benn toward Horcoff. Slipped it to the safety valve. And that's cleared by Travis Moen.
They've just outthought, outworked, outskated, outscored, outdefended the Blues here in the first period.
Stars get Fiddler back in half a minute. Fingers fighting the puck at the Dallas line, and another clear, this time Goligoski.
Yeah, there's been no support for the Blues on their attack.
Bouwmeester will try it. Lanky guy with big stride. Again, they take it away from Backus, and Daley clears.
Boy, they've been crisp. The Stars were exhausted when we were in Colorado on the weekend. No question about it. They have their energy back, and they're playing with a sizable lead here.
Fiddler's on. Power play is over. Dallas 1 for 1 on the kill. 7 for 7 in their last 4 games. Stastny in for a steal. Centered at Berglund. Shot it. That's blocked as the Stars' Jokipaka rallies.
Came and bailed out his young rookie defenseman there. Klingberg with the turnover.
Spezza barreling in there with Jackman. Put it into the corner. Cole centered it. Ben has to turn. And Stastny with the puck. Goes rink wide. Yashkin down the wing. Trying to cut against Klingberg. It's a little help from Spezza deep. Under 30 seconds left in the first period. Dallas captain Ben. Berglund leaning on him, but he strong-armed him and put it out. Jackman in the period's final 12. Goligoski read it. That's quite an opening frame for the Dallas Stars. Full ambush mode on the St. Louis Blues. And a 3-0 lead after 20 minutes.
Wow. You know, you've got 44 goals out of your lineup, and you hang 3 on them in the first period, 2 from your captain. I think I'm more impressed, though, how they dealt with the Blues in their own zone. Didn't give up much and didn't spend much time in their own end.
Dallas Stars still trying to keep their playoff hopes alive with a third of the season left. And Jamie Benn has the Stars up 3-0 after 20 minutes at Scott Trade Center in St. Louis. Dallas Stars had 4 fifth-round picks in the 2007 draft. With their second fifth-round pick, 129th overall, they selected Jamie Benn. Razor, this is his 5th career 20-goal campaign.
And he's rocking right now. The Stars have scored 3 goals in the opening period in 2 of the last 3 road games, and he has scored 4 of the 6. 2 in Boston when they opened it up on backup goaltender and went on to victory 5-2, and then here tonight, big pasty one from distance off a face-off win by Spezza, and then again Spezza delivering to Ben on the rush. Ben, what awareness! He finds a Ben fan with a jersey on to celebrate with optically on his cruise by. How about that? Our Ford leaderboard tonight since the All-Star break, and Ben has felt much better physically and scored more frequently. Only Alex Ovechkin with the Washington Capitals, he leads the entire NHL in goal scoring, has scored more goals than Jamie Benn, who has 8.
Jason Spezza with 2 first-period assists, and Spezza slowly working his way to the top 10 in the NHL in that regard. John Klingberg in a race with Steen, holding him up along the boards. Klingberg +2 and a helper in the first period. Spezza in the corner, out to Ben. Cole waiting for the puck at center ice, and Ben, second bid. Cole tipped it over. Bouwmeester cleared it away from the uncharging Spezza, and Pietrangelo firing it in. Stars up 3-0. 2 from Ben, 1 from Eakin in the first period. That's 9-7 Stars in the opening frame. Pietrangelo off a Star and into the stands.
Scored the last time the Stars were here. He hasn't scored since. Fine minute-munching young defenseman. They've split up the pairing of Pietrangelo and Bouwmeester. Usually play against the other team's top lines, but with the injury to Shattenkirk, they've had to mix and match a little bit on their back end.
We'll have no official word on Colton Sevier, who left in the first period. Berglund hands it off. Stastny hits the side of the net. Bumped off the back of the goal. To Butler. Yashkin wants it. Yashkin has it. Tiptoeing out, shot it, saved Lettinen, and away. Butler pulls it down. Walks to his left, fires. That's deflected over and through Lettinen.
Went off Yashkin right in front.
Stars trying to clear it. Gunnarsson held it in. Roussel tripped up at center ice, and Berglund launching it right back over. Early attack time here from St. Louis to start the second period. Lucky pocket in the corner, twisting off Stastny, making the pass over to Garbutt. Touched it on to Eakin, whipped it over to Daly. Here come the Stars, 3-on-2 as they hit the line. Eakin collecting it, sliding past Butler. McKenzie's in front, so is Garbutt, and it's cleaned up. Eakin overskates the puck in the slot. Laterra leaves it. Tarasenko one-on-one against Jordy Ben, and he can't get the shot away with a little help from Demers. But here's Schwartz off the bench, and too many men.
Yeah, they cheated the change big time there. Started with a good defensive play right in front of Jake Allen by Tarasenko. Cruises up the ice, fans on his shot attempt, and then after they regathered things, they were trying to cheat the change a little bit. Tarasenko comes down the slot, lifts the stick of Ryan Garbutt. Away they go in transition the other way. But especially in second periods where you get a massive advantage with your bench on the offensive side of the ice, it was just too much of an advantage and caught by the officials, and the Stars get their first power play of the night.
They only had 1 power play opportunity in Colorado. They did not score on it. Klingberg laying it off. Spezza to Ritchie in front to Daly. A shot, and he tried to go upstairs.
Boy, that was beautifully set up.
Was it ever? Great feed from Ritchie. Spezza firing, and that one just missed too. Klingberg will go get it. 10 goals, 20 assists in 43 games this season for the 22-year-old Swede in his first trip in the NHL. The drop back for Spezza. This is how they like to take the line. Blues waiting for it there, and Backes makes the play. St. Louis penalty killing top 10 at home. And 19th.
And they don't go shorthanded very often.
No. Eakin was pursuing a puck. Jackman clears all the way down to Lettinen. Bushy in for a look. Cole trying to settle it down, and Alex Goligoski midway through this power play for Dallas. They're up 3-0. Barkov tried to brush it in. Clearing attempt hits Berglund, and he finds it at center ice with Schwartz Driving it in again. Lettman makes the catch. 45 left on the man advantage. Cole will bring it over. Passing through to Horkoff. Bouwmeester had him into the corner. And he shot Bouwmeester's stick out of his hand. He retrieves it. Pietrangelo clears.
Neither of these first attempts for the power plays have looked very good. The Blues back in the opening frame, and now this one with the Stars. That one backdoor chance for Daly, and that's been it.
Spezza into the middle of the ice to Benn. Goligoski will work it over with 15 left on the power play. Ritchie stopping against Ott. Demers passing Spezza to Benn. Holding it at the right side. Benn moving in, shooting, and he scores! Jamie Benn's first career hat trick has the Stars up 4-0.
He has one of the most sinister, sweet, sweeping shots that I've ever seen. Of course, when he was an All-Star a couple years ago, he won the accuracy contest, blasting targets at the All-Star game. Wants it. I watched him in practice the other day with it. They working around. They got Alex Goligoski is the center release man. He'll hold his hands together and then just let the stick do the work. Brett Hall would be proud of him. Maybe not on that one because he's now with the Blues. But he'd be very proud that Benn allows the stick to do the work with the whip. Man, is he hot right now.
Holy cow. But here comes Steen breaking away. Steen moving in, and it's loose in the crease. Lettman covers with Oshie trying to ram it past him.
Well, a determined counterpunch from one of their better players and a guy that plays in all situations. Has scored a lot lately for them, too. Alex Steen, 11 goals in the last 19 games, and right off the draw tries to catch the Stars napping a little bit. Gets a hard-working bid on Kari Lettinen, who holds the fort and handles Oshie on the rebound as well. Just can't get over Jamie Benn. There's Colt Sevier back on the bench. Little tap from Brett Ritchie next to him. Good sign.
Further proof that no power play is a bad power play till it's over. That was a power play goal for the Stars. They're 1-for-1 in the game. Spezza's third assist, and Demers also picks up a helper on the play. Garbutt launching it. Gunnarsson got it over. Jokipaka standing firm against Oshie. Steen runs it out to Butler. Jokipaka takes it over. And a little flip over the St. Louis line. Blues right back. Oshie buying some time at the line. Butler shot it, blocked by Travis Moen. Oshie whipped it around behind. Demers to the puck. Egan for Garbutt at center. Leaning away from Oshie at the line. Getting a little help from Travis Moen. Big pile up along the near boards, and Horkoff tearing in after Jackman. Jackman fending him away. Backus up the wall. Stars are changing. Jordy Benn holding it in, shooting it. Sevier, backhander. That's blocked. Sevier takes it back of the goal. Bangs it out to Demers. He shanked it, and the Blues take over. Backus, a hit from Moen. And center ice. Sevier took one and gave one. Demers now legging Schwartz up the ice. Pass to the line. Stars are in on side. Benn to Horkoff. Put it back at the net. And it's center. The Dallas line. Tarasenko. Benn comes back and then lost it to Schwartz. But he gets help from Cole.
Well, that's been a big difference in the game. There's always been a second guy for the Stars, especially defensively, and not the case for the Blues. And they are just hounding them. There's no room. There's been latency in the Blues game. I mean, the shots are almost dead even, but the scoring chances are way off in that regard. Shots are not chances. We've learned that through the years.
And now shooting the opponent doesn't mean much. Stastny down the wing. Shot it. Blocked. Fiddler. Up the boards and out. Bouwmeester knocked it forward. Erskine trying to attack. Lettinen will keep it moving. Pietrangelo overskates Ritchie to the line, and it creeps out. Fiddler with a fallen Stastny shot it in. 6.5 gone in the second period. Dallas has added to their lead.
That was important, too. Stars get caught offside because of the second period change.
It's time.
So, there's the add to the lead. Jamie Benn's first career hat trick, believe it or not. Stars are up 4-0. Stars at 7 on March 1st for Military Appreciation Night, presented by OneSource Virtual. An entire night dedicated to the men and women who serve our country, plus the first 15,000 fans will receive a camo Stars cap courtesy of Dr. Pepper. 214-GO-STARS or DallasStars.com for the Stars and the Ducks.
Well, he is the alpha male here tonight. Jamie Benn, the Stars captain. A hat trick. He might not be done.
Yeah, pretty good. Ricky Parker shoving Reeves at center ice.
Reeves and Roussel had words on that face-off before they got started here. The Blues desperate to try to drive some energy and change the direction of this game.
He can cut down by Steve Ott.
Be a penalty there. They come out, Ott lost position suddenly. Oh, very likable Steve Ott. A little exuberant on this one. Lettinen changes the side on this and forces him to go chase and trailed the leg. It's a leg trip. Just 2 goals. Only plays about a dozen minutes. Now, good face-off percent. He's only scored 1 goal in half a dozen games against the team that drafted him. Steve Ott, he's watching his old junior line mate dice them up here tonight. He played with Jason Spezza with the Windsor Spitfires, scored 50 goals 2 years in a row. A lot of that was Jason Spezza.
Spezza set up all 3 of Ben's tonight. Stars on the power play. Klingberg shooting it. Save. Blues. Tie up. Daly poking. And Allen has the puck.
To fight to find that through traffic, Jake Allen, and even with that, the Stars got loose on their way in. They're just playing at a higher level than the Blues here tonight, executing beautifully offensively. The heavy shot from the blue line, Allen swimming on his knees trying to get across there and get a handle on it. Most dangerous guys at times for the Stars, whether they shoot or get the chance or not, are their defensemen.
They pile up back of the net. Ritchie freed it to the boards. Klingberg has to come out to center ice to get it. Take it back into his own zone. She gave Daly a little shove. And here comes Trevor. The drop to Spezza. Winding it up through center. Lost it. Stastny. Oshie, 3 Stars back. Shot blocked by Spezza.
First time I've seen that broken up. More scouting.
Klingberg forced to retreat by Berglund. Swedes playing mind games with each other. Sevier on the wing. Good way through the power play. Stars take it over. Horcoff is barreling in with Gunnarsson. Jackman ahead. And just out of Schwartz's reach at center. Demers has an assist in the game, and that is now 4 assists in his last 7 games for Jason Demers. Allen shot it right into Cole and Jackman. Backus turned it over to Sevier. Sevier shooting. Save Allen. Rebound. Cleared.
Oh, that turnover. Yikes. Cole Sevier's got a great shot. Most of his chances lately have come on deflections near the net. Got a gift that time.
Takes another hit from Jackman. Backus out to center ice. 20 seconds left on the Dallas power play. Lettinen shoves it off to Demers. He'll haul it to the St. Louis line with Backus tugging at him. Pass across the ice and...
Too many men?
Maybe, huh?
They weren't offside. The pass actually came back outside of the line. Lindy's like, it's 4-0. Why would we do something like this? Come back up. Watch the left-hand side. There goes Alex Goligoski. Cruising off, and the puck comes right to the guy who came on, and because there wasn't enough gas or pep in the step of Alex Goligoski, the Stars get caught with too many men.
So you put the guy who doesn't kill, Brett Ritchie, in, and in 10 seconds the Blues will get their second crack.
Interesting draw here. They've got Steen as the gunner back at the blue line.
Otero wins it straight back. There's Steen shooting it, but Roussel blocks it, and there he goes. 1-on-1 against Steen, who's not a defenseman, but who makes the play like one.
He could play any position, Alex Steen.
Shots on, and he'll go right to the bench. And St. Louis' second bid beginning now. Schwartz getting it over. Here's looking for something to build on.
They have not been a threat whatsoever tonight.
Tarasenko potted into the corner. Schwartz whipped it over for the one-timer, and Lettinen got there to rob Tarasenko.
That was threatening. That's high-grade stuff there. That's Tarasenko with a one-timer and a lot of real estate for Lettinen to have to cover. Big push, gets across, bang, bang. Nice setup from a stationary position, and Lettinen squeezes as hard as possible, tracks it with his head, and gets it short side.
Team leading 29 goals for Tarasenko. Schwartz with a good look. Firing, save Lettinen. Scrum to the boards, and Schwartz turns it over. Eakin. Garbutt has position on Schwartz. Eakin bringing it across. Eakin to Garbutt. He waits, he shoots, and he went too high. Back come the Blues in step. Tarasenko. Schwartz would have been offside. Garbutt and Yashkin collide. And then Tarasenko shoots it around the boards. Jordy Ben tipped it up. Eakin slugs it down.
Somewhat surprised there wasn't an interference call on Schwartz on the way back up the ice. He gave up after a little while and allowed Garbutt to walk in.
Pass to the line for Backes. Ben got his stick in the lane as he went to move it across. Steen dragging it into the corner. Backes pivoting. Goligoski takes the man. Daly the puck. He'll out leg Stastny. Firing it in from center ice, and a save there from Allen. Let's get Ritchie back, who's serving you too many men on the ice, calling 15 seconds. Each team has been flagged for one tonight. Stastny to Backes at the Dallas line. Lettinen cutting it off back of the net, and went up the boards and out of play.
Well, Ryan Garbutt with those wheels, they had about a three-man break going down. Pretty wise decision to just take the shot, but don't miss the net when you've got a defenseman shorthanded cruising in with you. At least hit it. Goes around the other side. They're fortunate that they didn't get trapped going the other direction. 5 goals in 11 games against the Blues in his career. So they're kind of his team.
Face out to Kari's left. Blues win it. Bouwmeester. Ritchie is on, and it's tipped toward him out of play with 9:10 remaining in the second period. Stars are up 4-0. They stay up 4-0 because Kari Lettinen gets over very quickly on the cunning Vladimir Tarasenko.
Trevor Daley's having a magical season in the goal-scoring department, especially. It's already a career high for him. He scored a pair of goals against the Blues in the season series so far, and that is the focus of our AT&T U-verse Rewind. Both of them on the power play. Both of them off shots. The second one, the one here, is just a dazzler. A fadeaway wrister. Part of a 2-goal or a defenseman goal, power play goal set from Ian Demers, as we mentioned earlier. And you know, it's his legs that put him in positions to score goals. Also allows him to get back and help out defensively. He's forged a pretty good little pair with the rookie, Jyrki Jokipaka. And he's going to scare 20 goals, if not get there.
No Dallas Stars defenseman has ever had a 20-goal season. Bouwmeester shot it in. It got away from Lettinen. Berglund poked it wide. And Ben to center. Pietrangelo laid it there. Goligoski up the middle, bounced away from Spezza. Bouwmeester to Stastny. Shot it wide. Goligoski popped it up. Pietrangelo hacked it in deep. And Goligoski keeping Stastny away. Now that's Yashkin back of the net. Klingberg. Here he comes. Pass ahead to Spezza. Outside the line, he'll shoot it in. Cole.
Yeah, they have just forced the Blues to chase them everywhere tonight. I mean, everywhere.
Daly has the puck. Jyrki Jokipaka. Sevier turned his stick.
Smart work up the ice. Smart work out of their own zone.
Forcing a turnover here. Blues are able to get through it. But Daly has it again at center ice. He'll take the stripe and fire it in. Allen. Shot it into the corner. Daly holding the zone. Gloved ahead. Jaskin pops it over Daly's head. No icing. Blues will change. Here's Trevor Daly. Jokipaka off the wing. Gunnarsson. Reeves taken off by Trevor Daly along the boards. Here's one right back at him. Horkoff entangled. Sevier picks up the puck. Here he comes. 3-on-2 as they hit the line. Sevier moving in, passing it over to Mullen off his skates. He and Butler clack in the corner. Sevier joining the fray. Gunnarsson passing to Ott. Icing against Ott and the Blues. Hey, fans, show us how you power through Mondays by tweeting at Dallas Stars with hashtag PowerThroughMonday along with a photo of yourself in Stars gear while holding any Powerade bottle every Monday through March 16th. Did you get all that? You'll have the chance to win tickets to see the Dallas Stars at home and on the road. Details at DallasStars.com/Powerade.
It's the sure sign of a good time. Here we go.
Fiddler and Gotch. Jake Allen in relief. 8.5 minutes into the first period.
Ritchie right behind him if he can pull it back.
Ritchie can fire it. Trickle past him to center ice. Jordy Ben. And Ritchie go after it along the boards. McKenzie to Fiddler, a shot off the side of the net. Ritchie trying to glove it down to himself in the slot. Tenacious. Nobody at the left point. So Gunnarsson threw it away at the Dallas line. McKenzie shouldering Gunnarsson right in front of the Dallas bench. He'll stay with that. Schwartz had it knocked away by Demers.
And if you watch this game tonight, you'd swear the Stars were the team that were on this roll where they've only lost 2 of their last 18. They have dominated this game. It's the Blues, though. I mean, they're 15-2-1 in their last 18. They beat teams 3-2, 4-2. They just sort of methodically go about their business when they win. But this Stars team has beat them at everything and at every turn tonight. Every turn. And that's the run they've been on. And the Stars are well on their way to winning for a 4th straight time here at Scottrade.
Blues 21-5-2 here this season. You know, Dallas doesn't match up very well in Denver. This is a good building for the Stars.
It wasn't for a long time, but man, have they turned it around. The Blues just don't seem to be able to play fast enough to hang with the Stars, especially here at home. Whether they think it's going to be easier or what, I don't know. But
we saw Pop Tarasenko shot from the angle. Lettinen shuts it down.
Still a lot of game left. And this team can score, but nice spot to be in if you're Dallas.
Up 4-0, 5:58 left in the second period at Scottrade.
I'm sure the angry Viking is a bar somewhere. This is the despondent Viking, I think, here tonight. The Vikings, by the way, burned their boats when they conquered new lands. That way you either have to win or perish.
Men were well motivated.
I think that guy'd be a pretty good Viking back in the day. Steve Ott.
You would.
Stars have been the ones marauding tonight, though. Wow, have they been good.
Up 4-0. Late stages of the second period. Jamie Benn has 3 of the goals. Jason Spezza, 3 assists. Eric Cole down the wing, sliding up Bouwmeester. Pietrangelo with the puck to David Backes, St. Louis captain. Lofting pass that Steen finds and shoots in, but then can't get away from Jokipaka.
Look at them beat their forecheck. I mean, they have not been able to pin the Stars down at all.
Cole drags it in off Bouwmeester, shot it, Allen kicked it out. Oshie, deliberate pass ahead. Pietrangelo getting it over, and they got it.
It was a sloppy change by Steen, who just cruised to the gate rather than go over the boards. You got to be attentive here in second periods because of where the blue line is at the attack blue line. So they got a great big soggy bag of nothing going against the Stars. They've had a couple of chances. They're better chances in the game here in the second period. None better than Tarasenko's one-timer, but, you know, Kari just spits it back. He's on quite a run with a goose egg up.
Yashkin putting it in deep. Demers burying Yashkin and paying for it.
Poor Jason Demers is like, he skated at me and fell down. He's wearing the extra face protection. He had his lower lip re-split in the shenanigans in Colorado in the last road game. In he comes. All he did was just touch him and fall down and bought the call. A product of 4-0. And again, he's checking the bottom lip that has about 13 stitches in it. He's such a gamer. He gets involved. He has involved active shifts.
Now he'll watch the third St. Louis power play of the game. They're 0 for 2. They win the draw. Schwartz to Steen and back again. Yashkin's in front of the net. Tarasenko back out to Steen. They stack it up. Shot tipped wide by Yashkin. Schwartz finding it. Taking it back of the net. Centering feed for Steen. Loading. Deferring to Tarasenko for a shot up high. Steen holding it in. Yashkin back of the net. Bailey shadowing him. Tarasenko all the way over. Shot from Steen. Blocked by Goligoski. Leads Dallas in that regard. Tarasenko has a lane. Tarasenko flipped it in front. Letton got over with the pad on Yashkin.
Similar type play. Goligoski's mad at himself at the tail end of that one, and there's one fiddler in the middle of it with Yashkin. Boy, another great save by Letton in lateral fluidity. Cross he goes, saucer pass, short side. I don't think even Kari was sure that he had this one completely. That's quite a pass. I mean, that's an ethereal, feathered little saucer over 1-2 sticks, right on the button. Started with Tarasenko, the goal scorer, and on the business end is that big winger. And Letton again says, nah. They've had some pretty good chances on their last 2 power plays.
Actually outshot the Stars 16-14 in the game. Bouwmeester straight away. Pietrangelo from the hash marks. Back out. Bouwmeester lost it. Eakin wants to go. Eakin's got Garbutt behind him. Eakin protecting the puck, leaving for Garbutt for a shot that dribbles wide off a stick.
Pretty good work by Bouwmeester with that long reach to get back and handle both of those forwards by himself.
Here's Oshie maneuvering ahead. Stastny reaches out for it at the Dallas line. Down to Bouwmeester in the corner, now back of the net. Backes and Garbutt tie up. They flip it back out to Pietrangelo. Waiting for it, he wants it again. He shoots it up high. Bouwmeester at the side of the net, centers it, and Eakin closing over there, knocking down Stastny. Here's Oshie. Bouwmeester holding, shooting, save Letton. Jordy Ben takes it back around, wants an alley, and then gets it through to Jokipaka, who clears it. Oshie was hanging on him all the way. Quick up from Allen. Blues trying to come right back in. 22 left on the power play. Pietrangelo stops in the corner to Backes. A shot! And hampered by Sean Horcoff. It goes wide. Laterra, Horcoff over there again. Pitching it out to Ben. Down the ice it goes.
They've just closed on them so many times when pucks have gotten through. It's been Kari, a rock in behind him.
Demers is on. Power play is over, but Schwartz goes breezing in, and Letton takes it away just that quickly.
This Schwartz is quite a player. He really is. Talented guy. Beautiful playmaker. He can score too. Basically a goal every second game for the past 2 months. His agent is Wade Arnott. That's Jason's brother. Jason lives in Dallas, former Dallas Star and Stanley Cup winner with Jersey. He's the Blues pro scout. So he's seen lots of Stars games at home.
Steen shooting. It's Berglund on its way to the net. Klingberg trying to flip it, and he flipped it off of Blue.
I don't know if his head and out. It went right off Steen's bucket and out of there. So, yeah, you mentioned the shots, and the Stars really haven't had that many quality chances on Jake Allen. A good one, obviously, from Ben on the power play, and all that stuff early on Brian Elliott that got him chased from the game. And since then, not a ton of them, but the better chances have been off the stick of Blues here in the second period.
Butler did it. He shot it in. Klingberg back at the net for Goligoski. Berglund collecting it for St. Louis. That's Steen again pivoting onto the corner. Klingberg with a back pass over to Ben. And out to center ice. Goligoski hustling after the puck. Klingberg amidst three Blues, flipped it ahead. Ott backhanding it deep. Stastny back of the net. Out to the line again. Berglund knocks that down right into Klingberg. Berglund collecting it again. Shot it. Klingberg blocked it out of the zone. Gunnarsson probed by Eric Kolb. Spezza shot it out to the St. Louis line. Son of a Gunnarsson. Up to Ott. On the line is Goligoski. To Klingberg. Got it right into Ott, and the puck comes back into the corner. Goligoski tried to shoot it out, and Blues are offside at the Dallas line. Sunday, the best drivers in the world will push themselves and their cars to the limits in the 57th running of the Great American Race. The Daytona 500 begins Sunday at noon Eastern, only on Fox and streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
Well, the Stars should end up getting outshot here tonight. Part of that will be the lead that they have, and you go into a little bit more of a shell. The other side, especially on home ice, the embarrassment factor, and they'll be trying to pour it on in the third period. The Stars have been outshot in 4 straight games now, and they've won 3 of the 4. That's the avenue.
Keep it coming. Jackman with a thrust up the ice. Jordy Ben has to keep Tarasenko at bay. That's not an easy thing to do, and he does. Demers to Ritchie out.
Look at how they diffuse that, though. It's been so impressive.
Ritchie tossed it over, and Stars are offside at the line.
It's one thing to play hard. Everybody in this league plays hard, but when you play hard and smart and in concert with one another, it looks like this. Jordy Ben fends off Tarasenko. In comes his partner to support him behind. Little toss back, looks up, finds a guy on the wing, chip past the defenseman. You're out of your own zone. Excellent.
Bailey knocking it over. Eakin, Garbett, and Roussel out here for the Stars. Steen breaking toward the Dallas line, and they wave the icing. Letton back there. Oshie dragged it off the boards, found Eakin, who shot it off Pietrangelo just out of the zone. Minute remaining
1 minute
in the second period. I'd like to alert you of that. Jyrki Jokipaka. Spezza lost the puck. Oshie shot it, blocked as the Stars rallied to the slot.
Up the boards, up the boards, up the boards, boys. Final minute. You're up 4-0. Don't give them any life whatsoever.
Antoine Roussel deep in the St. Louis zone, buying time for the change. Wants to tuck it in deep again, and he does. Cole ramrodding with Oshie. Those two tie up. Cole couldn't quite emerge with the puck in front of the net, but then he goes right back at Oshie.
He circled the net to go back at him there. Little quick respite, and then here I am.
Jamie Benn, 15 left in the period. Benn eating clock. Benn looking out to the line, shoveling it deep for Spezza back of the net. Cole and Oshie whacking away at each other in front. Cole chopping Oshie down. Oshie went back at him with the stick. From center ice, Yashkin shoots it in on Kari Lehtinen to stop play.
Tried to see whether they were full of candy or not. The 2 piñatas in front of the net. That was quite the little swashbuckle. A couple of pirates. Watch this. Start whacking. Bang. 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 Not done yet.
And none of that's a penalty, by the way.
No.
40 minutes gone in St. Louis. Dallas Stars off to a big start. And Jamie Benn, 3 of the 4 goals for his first career hat trick. How'd you like to see Jamie speak with Daryl Ray at the break? All you got to do is leave your TV set right where it is. Gateway City and St. Louis's Gateway Arch. A little cool today, but a good day in St. Louis. Stars up 4-0 heading to the third. Stars are letting you create your own 3-game ticket package with the Papa John's Pick 3 plan. Choose the Detroit, Pittsburgh, or Chicago home game, plus any 2 other Dallas Stars home games, all starting at just $81. We'll throw in a large 3-topping pizza from Papa John's. 214-GO-STARS is who you call. Razor, what is the order of business here in period 3, protecting a 4-0 lead?
Manage the game, right? And don't just completely collapse and stop playing whatsoever, but at the same time, don't take chances and push the clock along.
Spezza, Benn, and Cole. Dallas captain this first hat trick. Eagles barreling in there with Bouwmeester in the corner. Spezza tied up. Bouwmeester and Benn continue to jockey. That leaves room for Cole to slip in. Benn cramming it. Save Allen. Touchback by Spezza. Goligoski fell and then was able to loop it in toward the goal anyway. Spezza. Goligoski's back up. Shot it over off Spezza. Klingberg has to back up to take on Backes defensively. Klingberg stays with the man. And Benn shot it up to center. There's Schwartz. Stars will finish changing. So will the Blues. Tarasenko offside at the Dallas line. He's got 1 shot through 2 periods and then walked right into Antoine Roussel and put himself to the ice.
A little off balance as he came in there, and they've been off balance since the opening few shifts of the game tonight. The Blues have in their home dome. The Stars have dictated play here tonight. Walks in, looks over, sees him coming, and oh! No, you're not going to get the call. Good try, though. Hey, down 4-0. You have the number 2 power play in the league. Try to help the refs.
Yes. Ryoki Paka swung and missed on the backhand. Roussel takes the pass from Eakin, now to Garbutt on the wing. Stars using their speed to attack. Garbutt tried to pull it in and threw it across. That's off Allen. And a penalty coming up. Interference against the Blues, is it?
Yeah, it means the Stars off the rush and just driving them back. And on the tail end of it, Antoine Roussel, who now Steen wants to have words with near their blue line. Everybody's mad at him. Yaskin comes back on him. Carry on, push through. There's the interference right by the net. It's a tough call on the Blues. He's just thinking that he's defending more than anything else, and instead Butler's in the box.
Third power play of the game for Dallas. They are 1 for 2. Jamie Benn scored in the second period to give Dallas the 4-0 lead. Spezza fishing it out against Steen. Big physical battle for the puck. There's Trevor Daley shooting. That tipped off Benn and just wide. Spezza curling it out to Klingberg. Comes to his left, feeds Daley. Back to Klingberg. Shooting it. Off Ritchie and Backes into the corner. Bouwmeester trying to clear. He hits Steen. Klingberg taking a look. Klingberg shooting. Blocked.
That was never going to get through.
Daley passing over, another penalty against St. Louis. Benn shot it, save Allen. Benn again, save Allen. Extra attacker coming for the Stars on the delayed call, and Benn will just let him have the puck here.
Well, the chance for Klingberg right in the middle. He's grabbing onto the back of his neck on the tail end of all that. You could see the convergence on, look at the slot. There's no way that's going through. Look to the flanks, but I think he had his head buried. There was the penalty. You could see him immediately grab onto his neck. So Steen for high sticking, and an opportunity for the Stars power play to cash in again. They did this in New York against the Rangers on the 2-man advantage. A beautiful feed by Seguin to Spezza.
Spezza and Oshie tie up Daley. Getting in there quickly. Klingberg holding it with the skate, moving it over to Daley, passing it over to Spezza. Cole's in front of the net. That's Benn in the corner. Out to Klingberg. To Daley, down to Spezza. Spezza in front off Allen. Benn back of the net, has Allen moving, shot it off of him, and it squirts free to Daley. To Klingberg. He and Daley will switch sides. Down to Spezza, all alone. Shot saved twice, and Oshie's able to clear. 45 left on the 2-man advantage for Dallas. Here he comes. Taking the line, forced into coverage, lost the puck, and then here come the Blues short-handed. Backus and Pietrangelo with Daly back. Backus a shot. He went upstairs.
Missed the net. Well, it was a risky decision by Spezza to go in, and a pretty risky play by the Blues, down 2 men, to go after it.
Cole tips it to keep it in the zone on the clearing attempt. 10 left on the 5-on-3. Goligoski and Demers switching sides. Demers opening up. Horcoff. Back to Goligoski. Cole between the circles. Spezza in the corner takes the puck. Spezza to call a shot. That's blocked in front. They get Butler back. He's pounding Demers along the boards. Became aware of it at the last instant, and the Blues clear.
The Stars have been great tonight, but there's a situation where they really miss a few of those guys that are not available. Seguin in particular, but Eves as well. Hemsky can be good in that circumstance.
Here's Horcoff. Dozen seconds left on the power play. Pitching it back out. Demers from Goligoski. Straight away. Goligoski to Horcoff. Goligoski is shot. Block. Ritchie finds it. Shoots it. Save Allen. No rebound as the penalty expires to Steen.
You have that much time with a 2-man advantage, a minute and a half, you should cash in, and the Stars actually gave up the best scoring chance. There's that chance for Benden behind the net. I think he ends up hitting Bouwmeester off the pad. Oh, it went right off the side of the pad of Allen. Trying to bank it in. Had him in a tough spot. Here comes their rush. 2-on-1. Backus doesn't change the point of attack initially, and it's easily played by both the goaltender and the defenseman Daly back there because of that. Just coming down the slot lane.
Eakin wins a face-off. Blues have been rather dominant in that category tonight.
It's about the only thing that they've had it over the Stars in this game.
Roussel foraging for a puck, hacking with Berglund. Eakin chasing Ian Cole. Allen bumped it around behind.
Man, that was close.
Yeah.
It's a dumb rule, but it was close. Can't handle the puck in that little high corner.
Ian Cole threw it off Yashkin. Jordy Ben, Curtis McKenzie, Vern Fiddler. Fiddler swinging wide, shot it, blocked. Demers in front, off a toe. Jordy Ben firing tip, save Allen off the Ritchie deflection. And at the Dallas line, Tarasenko missing the puck. Been a tough catch. Demers shooting it up and away from the pressure. Here come the Stars again. McKenzie to Fiddler. For McKenzie. Drop pass gathered in by Laterra. As Ritchie and Fiddler bumped into each other. Bouwmeester navigating in and across the Dallas line. Back of the net, Klingberg. Tied up by Laterra. Holding the puck. Keeping it away from Schwartz. Klingberg up. Backhand pass ahead to Moen. Sevier jockeying away from Bouwmeester. He goes into the corner. And Laterra got there to hammer it around. Klingberg protecting the Moen along the boards. Deep to Sevier. Played it off the back of the net. Centering pass to Horcoff goes askew. And out comes Tarasenko with a pass into the middle. Pietrangelo taking it over. Everybody else is changing, so he's got no play. Almost 6 minutes elapsed in the third period. Stars scored 3 times in the first 8.5 minutes. 2 of those from Jamie Benn. He added his hat-trick goal in the second, and they lead it 4-0.
They ice it here, though, so they'll go back to their own zone. And this is, how you manage the game. They don't take penalties. Load on the right side of the puck. Grind the clock down. Always have people back. The only thing you don't want to give up, or the main thing you don't want to give up, are easy scoring chances to give the other side life. They had that 2-on-1 with the penalty kill, but that's been it. Stars about shot him 6-0.
On. It's a pretty good jolt along the boards. Oshie in the corner. Back of the net, pinned by Horcoff. Klingberg to the loose puck. Up ahead to Moen. Took the hit from Ian Cole, but got the puck out. Jackman backing into Steen at the Dallas line. Had to gather the puck, and now he moves in. Backus picking off Ben. Steen going back of the net. Oshie blocked up in front of it with Daly. Off the bench, it's Butler to the corner. Outlegs Jokipaka. Looking in front, and he gets away from Backus. Jackman shooting, save Lettinen, and then it goes right back out to Jackman. Down low, and it's off the side of the net by Oshie. Lettman finally squaring up. Jackman firing. Blocked by Trevor Daley. Cole wants to get it out, and he'll push it ahead. Stars changing. And the puck up back is at center. Oshie shoots it in deep into the Dallas zone. Scrambling moments there.
Kari had a chance to hang on with one of those point shots with the glove. I think he thought he had it. They just reloaded the confusion because he didn't.
Reeves turning back into his own line. Almost gave that away to Eakin.
This line's been good tonight for the Stars. They've pestered. They've produced.
When they're on.
Yeah. They close on people so quick. All three guys can skate. Should probably finish there.
Demers away from Ott. Bounced it up. Pietrangelo regathers. Takes the line. Garbutt chased him down. Pietrangelo recovers. Shot it wide of the net on the block. Gotch, Reeves, and Ott. Gotch lost the puck. And now his stick. Too much consternation.
Reeves is trying to grab a hold of Roussel over there.
He's been coming in to break that up.
They repeatedly are going after Antoine. He's in their kitchen.
Klingberg, pass ahead. To clean up his own mess, and he does out to center ice. Ritchie stalled. Fiddler shoots it in. Stars yet to tag up and gain the zone, and the Blues are in full possession. Asney's pass toward Berglund. Flipped in by Fiddler to his goaltender, and Kari Lettinen stops play. Coming up, 37 for 37 against the Florida Panthers. He's made 21 stops tonight, and Kari Lettinen and the Stars are up 4-0 in St. Louis.
Against average and save percentage include the first almost now 50 minutes of this game tonight. 1.3 goals against, 96+ save percentage. And well on his way to a 4-0 record over his last 4 games. And when you watch Kari go about his business right now, watch his head more than anything else. This is tracking. He stares the puck onto his body. He's fought to find pucks. Great save on Tarasenko back in the second period. He made 4 or 5 brilliant stops in that middle frame. A little fortunate maybe on that one, on the one-timer from Yaskin on the backside that caught him in the pant. But when you're living right, you're living right. I'd say this, when Kari's like this and he's on his game, and we've certainly seen that over the last 5+ seasons in Dallas, he's in the top 6 to 10 goaltenders at the position in this league. He's not had a very good season by his standards up till now, but his performance could get him into the postseason again here over the final couple months.
Tarasenko hammered that off Goligoski. There's Pietrangelo reloading. Tarasenko for a shot blocked in front. Horcoff makes the play. Klingberg flips it out. And here comes Horcoff carrying it over. Got it back, bunts it behind the net. Moen opening up in front for the feed from Sevier. Goes into the corner. Horcoff without a stick. He goes to the Dallas bench. Daley regathers from center. You call this an off year by Kari's standards. He's 10th in wins. And 24. With Lundqvist right above him. Of course, Lundqvist missing some time now. Spezza, slow roller to Daley. Just to move it. And move it he does into a ducking Dallas bench.
For the most part, the Stars have been the better team in the middle of the ice. In their own zone, in the attacking zone. Again, they opened that large Texas can on these Blues early on with the 3 goals. And you can see the way they're defending in front of their netminder here in the 3rd period. He's running a goose egg for a while, at home and here.
Jokipaka back at the net. Back is slung in there, centered it, but it drifts all the way back into the St. Louis zone. Cole rumbling after it. Allen is able to pitch it forward and into the Dallas zone. Demers missed, and it's icing against Dallas.
Panic all over the place there.
Breakaway with the Stars and join them for a road trip this season. Enter at DallasStars.com/American Airlines for your chance to see the Stars play the Preds in Nashville. One lucky winner will receive round-trip travel for 2 on American Airlines, a 2-night hotel stay, tickets to the game, and access to morning skate. Sign up at DallasStars.com/American Airlines. Gunnarsson, Butler fired it, deflected. Ovechkin overtaken. Ben poked it out. Ovechkin handing it back.
Stastny out here with these two. I haven't found Paul Stastny in the game tonight.
Roussel found the puck. Eakin sliding it in.
He was a star slayer with the Colorado Avalanche.
Garvin out to Demers, firing, tip just wide. Eakin already has a goal in the game. Now Roussel trying to get his stick free out of the pile. And these three, let's play in the St. Louis zone for a bit.
Mosquitoes in a dark tent. They're at their best when they're mosquitoes in a dark tent.
Exactly what they are. Garvin tipped it right into Gunnarsson, and then Gunnarsson's like, oh no, here he is again. There's back out for the change.
He's just like, would you guys change so we can get going? They're one of those nights.
Yeah. Tarasenko whipped it on in. Lettinen hands it to Klingberg. He's immediately challenged.
Well, it's one of the few times where the Stars haven't been on the move with their transition out of their own zone. They have not allowed the Blues to pin them down.
Schwartz attacking. Pivots away. Out to the line. Bouwmeester shot off a glove. It was McKenzie's glove. It bounced on into Kari Lettinen.
Went all Cirque du Soleil on that one.
8:54 left in the third. Stars 4, Blues nothing in St. Louis.
Icemen, who are major additions to their clubs in the summer. Paul Stastny, as I mentioned moments ago, from Colorado here to St. Louis, and Jason Spezza from Ottawa to the Dallas Stars. And one guy's having a much better night tonight than the other. Spezza with 3 assists in this one. He's been excellent. Outside of the control things off the dot, it's been very good.
Spezza now 3 points from being the third 50-point man for the Stars. They can produce. Ben chasing a puck at center. Ben to the St. Louis line. Turned his skates to keep it in against Bouwmeester. Pietrangelo fighting away from Cole. Bouwmeester to Backes at the Dallas line. Shot it in. Klingberg going over there with Steen. They jockey Oshie to Backes in the corner. Steen's in front of the net. Ben cleans it up. Cole galloping out to center ice, and he'll shove it in deep.
Boy, Lindy Ruff is going to be just tickled with this performance tonight. More the defensive thing than the fact, I mean, they score 3 or 4 on every road trip they've gone on, it feels like. One of the highest, almost the highest scoring road team in the NHL. You expect that, but defensively, they've been very good tonight.
Reeves and Jackman attempting a foray into the Dallas zone. Puck squirts loose in front. Blues backing out almost immediately. And Jokipak overskates the puck. Dodge has it back of the net, attacks, Lettinen the stop, Ott poking at it, still loose, and finally a whistle. Ooh.
Get a bib on, Kari. It's getting sloppy. It's a bit of a tough pass, and the rookie Jokipak might have been ahead of himself a little. It comes back into his wheels. Immediately they pounce. The Stars have been so fluid with their transition game out of their own zone. That really sticks out. Got a little ahead of it. Puck a little bit behind in between the heel of the stick and the skates, and Kari seals the net at the end of the rink and bails him out again.
And the bench down, Butler shot it, got through, Lettinen the save. Jordy Ben to the corner. Berglund firing, scores! And he wrecks it with 7.5 to play.
Well, an attack zone face-off, the man we just spoke of, they win this thing back. This thing looked like it handcuffed Kari Lettinen, whether he was a bit screened. He was. Demers was in front of him, and as it was ripped short side. Curled out of there, fadeaway wrister, eludes the left hand of Kari Lettinen. The shutout is gone. A little life in the building that is now half empty. And some work to do for the Stars.
First goal in a dozen games for Patrick Berglund. It's his 7th of the year. And it's a 4-1 score. Lennon back of the net, giving it to Jordy Ben. Away from the pressure. Fiddler will carry it out. Stastny is on the board. Face-off assist win on that goal.
Kind of felt if they were going to get anything in this game tonight, it was going to probably be off of a face-off win because they won most of them.
Ritchie chips it in. McKenzie going after Butler. McKenzie led Dallas with 4 hits through 2 periods. Blues bring it over. Tarasenko chopping it up. Over for a shot. Petrangelo is blocked, and then Klingberg gave it right back to him. Tarasenko breaking in on the near side. Spezza trying to tie him up. Tarasenko stick handling away, and Laterra poked it in front for Schwartz. Cole for the Stars, backhanding it out. Spezza alone at the line, and then that's brushed aside by Petrangelo. Goligoski comes to center to shoot it in. Ben slamming into Bouwmeester. Spezza in the high slot, firing. Save Allen. He'll hold it with 6:13 to play.
Don't make it harder on yourselves than you have to here. Stars in complete control of this hockey game, and they come out, and although they made a couple of good defensive plays in their own zone, they re-gifted it right back to the Blues a couple of times. That man will be the first star tonight, Jamie Benn.
Eakin gloved it down for a pass in the slot to Garbutt. Blues come away with the puck. Jackman dug it out of his skates, whisks it in. Stastny pumped it toward the net. Jackman there to throw a hit into the corner. Berglund, who just scored, passing it over. Bouwmeester firing. Garbutt knocked that to the corner. Bailey for Garbutt, who spins away. Berglund holding it in. And then at the center, it's Roussel and Jackman back in the St. Louis zone. They drip all the way in there. They got a grab of each other. Roussel threw a left. Popped him with a big left. He's got Jackman's helmet off. Now Roussel's helmet off.
They clacked heads.
And then Roussel with an uppercut. Jackman with a left hook. Jackman threw and missed. And that ought to do it. Wow. They just drifted away from the action.
Well, there have been so many Blues inviting Antoine Roussel to drop the mitts, chuck the meat fists. Finally found one that he desired.
4-1 Stars, 5:41 to play.
Antoine's still pleading his case in the box as to why he had to do that. Jackman, the veteran, the glue guy on this Blues team, much more reserved in there after the two of them tried to knock each other's teeth down their throats. This is the genesis of it. They come down in the corner. You want to see how a fight breaks out? Watch this. Let go of my stick. Oh! Well, then let's go. Away he went, pursued him, and then pugilism ensued. They end up hitting heads as soon as their buckets came off in there. Boom! Oh, man. That get you disqualified in the squared circle. So the only thing delinquent in that was the actual fight, right? Fisticuffs. Everything else, just what happens. Welcome back, Antoine. I hope you enjoyed your 2 games off.
And the Blues sort of symbolically had enough of that trio. Shot from Butler, save from Lennon, and then Steen going to work with Goligoski in front of the net.
Yeah, it's, you know, the game is still the game, and the referees have got to keep a lid on this a little bit. Stars up by 3. Still quite a bit of clock left at 5.5 minutes. There's some frustration from the Blues, and the Stars have to go about their business and not cave a little bit here late. They've spent a lot of time in their own zone here.
Ben and Backus wins it, but Cole jumps after it. Steen almost hopped on his back. Cole taking it in, shuffling it past Butler. Finishes hit on Gunnarsson. And Butler to Backus at center ice. Icing against St. Louis.
Force that top line to start again in their own zone. David Backes finished the last game in this building against the Stars going after Cody Eakin, and then Jamie Benn stepped in. Always strikes me as more of a number 2 than a number 1 here, and they've been outplayed in this game tonight.
Fiddler ripped it away. Shot was deflected by Sevier wide of the net. Sevier busting after the puck. Fiddler chasing Gunnarsson, who seals him off and allows Allen to dive on it.
Vern comes out and says, if you're not alert and ready, I'm just going to rip it away from you. Fiddler was a walk-on in junior and an undrafted guy. Made the most of his opportunities at this level. He's had the kids on his wing tonight for the most part. Ritchie and McKenzie.
With Horkoff at Sevier now. Laterra wins this draw. Pietrangelo with 5 minutes left. Out to center ice. Demers intercepts and shoots it in. Pietrangelo pitching it around to Bouwmeester. And they turn it over at their own line.
Good shift by this line. Starts with a face-off win. Grind it down, eat some clock, spend some time.
Turn over another puck at the line, shoot it in, and go change.
That's why Lindy Ruff put them together. Just 3 guys. He knew what type of shift he'd get out of them, and boom, he did.
Laterra winding his way in, handing it off to Schwartz, dropping it back, and Tarasenko losing the puck. Daly keeping him away and the puck between his skates. McKenzie up to Garbutt, shooting it in. McKenzie out here now with Eakin and Garbutt as Roussel sits. And Laterra pumped it out. Jokipaka hands it over. Daly rips it right back in. Allen steadies for Pietrangelo. Another hit from McKenzie. Under 4 minutes to play. Marcel Gotch leaving it for Ott. Ott shooting, blocked by a diving Alex Goligoski. Spencer to Cole. Again with Reeves on his back. Cole digs in, and then the puck shot up and hit Ian Cole in the face. He's on his way to the St. Louis bench. Dallas is Eric Cole. His own line goes across the ice. Spets it to Klingberg. Klingberg softly into the corner. Van will tie up Gotch. And that line will go for a change. 3:15 to play in the third. Stars up 4-1 in St. Louis. Jordy been around. Stastny holding it in. Goligoski jamming with Yashkin. Ripped to the far side. Jordy Ben will go get it and sprint ahead to center ice. Knock it over. Stars again. Allen, the goaltender, turned it over. Fiddler tried to center it and exploit that transgression. Couldn't do it.
This is how you go about your business. Wow, these last 3-4 shifts have been perfect.
Icing here on just off the mark.
Well, no shock. What Miller Time will be here tonight. Brought to you by Miller Lite. The Hattie from the captain got things started about 3 minutes in on a face-off win, then a beautiful setup. Supreme setup by Spets on a 2-on-1, and then finished it off in the second period. Spets again with the primary on it. So the first career hat trick for Jamie Benn. I'm sure there'll be more with that shot and his age and the future that is so bright in Dallas. So good on him. He's had some ups and downs this year. He hasn't always felt completely 100% physically. Much better since the All-Star break, and since the All-Star break, the production has been right there. Those 2 guys tonight. The shooting percentage was almost perfect for a while for Jamie Benn. Then a few were wasted as it moved along, but 3 goals on 6 shots, and the center iceman, the forgotten guy on the line tonight has been Cole, who's kind of barged his way around a little bit tonight. Done the gritty work on the boards.
Eric has an assist, and Jamie Benn is, depending on what happens tonight elsewhere, a point or 2 out of the top 10 in NHL scoring all of a sudden.
Well, that's what they had last year with Sagan and Benn, 2 guys in the top 8, I think it was, at the end of the season.
Oshie probing. Goligoski banks it out. Eakin knocking it across. St. Louis Blues have got to be scratching their heads. They're 18 games ago, they were 4 points back of the Nashville Predators. They go 15-2-1. And after tonight, for the Preds win and the Blues lost, they're 6 points back of the Nashville Predators. And here's another icing against Dallas.
Well, they got outplayed tonight right from the get-go, and Lindy's going to be tickled, I think, with this performance tonight. The one thing he's talked about in past about their defending is we can't be a team, if one guy gets beat, there's nobody underneath of that defensively. It's just, cheer on your goaltender. Here tonight, it's just been layers to their defending, and they've been pesky.
There's Cody Eakin winning a face-off. Alex Goligoski banging it up the wing. And Eakin following that up to shovel it off Tarasenko. Allen staying in the St. Louis net. That one went off Ben and right back at Allen. He makes no move to move. Ben. For Spezza. Butler up to Tarasenko. Tarasenko's pass hit a teammate. Winds up off the Tara to Ben. And Dallas looking very much like a team that will just close this out. All of a sudden, with San Jose coming in 2 nights, things staying interesting in the West for the Stars. 4 out of 5 will do that. They're a minute away from doing that. Cole throwing another hit at center. Vern Fiddler. Sean Horcoff in the corner. Reeves threw his body at him. Horcoff right back up. Dig into the final horn. Sean Horcoff. Vern Fiddler, Eric Cole out there in the St. Louis zone. Trying to escape. Can't do it. One final change for the Stars. That's impressive. Clearly out of gas in Colorado the other night. They get their swerve back tonight in St. Louis. From start to finish, the better team. And a 4-1 win for Lindy Ruff on his birthday in St. Louis.
Yeah, they came out and put their boot on their throat immediately. The captain led the way in a lot of different manners, including offensively with the hat trick here tonight. But a lot of guys played well. I mean, pick somebody that didn't play well without the puck or with the puck, and they completely diffused any semblance of a St. Louis Blues forecheck in the game tonight. So now they've worked close. How about the Sharks have now won just 2 of their last 9. They're going to lose in Nashville tonight. And the Stars, although there's leapfrog to be done, inch closer again to that final wild card spot in the Western Conference.
They're in Minnesota on Sunday. They've got Colorado in Dallas on Saturday, and they play San Jose on Thursday night.